Hello, everybody. Son of Collingswood here, reporting live from Miko Media Studios. I'm with my man, Dougie McFresh, Dougie McConnell, behind the camera, and we are here to give you a little outline of the new 08108 magazine that has just been published. And you see your boy, second page, baby. Shout out to my boy Dougie for these amazing pictures. You see it with the fam, proud parents, proud son moment right there. And I wanted to read through this article for you guys because it means a lot to us to see an outline of, of course, everything that happened in the last year, but, everything that led to the last year as well. And the article is named The Sun Also Rises. Shout out to my good friend Julia Bazone for this amazing article. Dougie for the pictures, of course. Shout out to the ladies at the 108 Studios for coming out trying the food at Jersey Kebab as well. They posted great pictures on the Collingswood and Haddonfield Living pages. We love those. So it reads, it's 1 p.m. at Jersey Kebab in Collingswood on a bustling Saturday, Valentine's Day, and every table is large, light-filled dining room is full. Servers weaving through the crowded room, carrying succulent platters of lamb, warm pita, creamy dips, and fries. A single red tulip in a vase adorns each table. Shout out to my mom for putting the flowers up on Valentine's Day. She loves decorating the place, man. Ornate Turkish, Egyptian, and Libyan decor lines the walls. It's a scene that Jalal Emanet, the owner and patriarch, had long envisioned. That vision might have surprised his community until late last year. Jersey Kebab, which opened in Haddon Township in 2021, was modest with 4 tables and 20 seats. It was an unassuming takeout spot where locals and commuters stopped for a casual meal. Shout out to the OG Jersey Kebab, man. We love that store. What a great store it was. And his friends advised him to look for a place in Burlington County where there's a larger Muslim population. But Jalal said, I trust in my food. It's delicious. I trust in myself. And my dad's main focus was because he wanted to be around the casual suburban American communities, because whenever we're around Turkish people, I feel like Turkish people come to your place of business once, they judge you the food, and then afterwards they casually never come again. But our neighborhood, man, and the people we see, I see them on a weekly basis. So it's crazy how our community is literally they're not Turkish, of course, but they are literally our fam. And my dad loves that, honestly. He likes being around Americans more than Turkish people. I'm sorry to my Turkish. So back in Turkey, restaurant ownership runs in the family. Jalal's father and brother built a small restaurant into a thriving business that still operates today. And that is facts, guys. In Turkey, my grandfather owned a restaurant in the mechanical town of Turkey. And imagine in our city, right? There is the town, there is the village, and then they have these cities that they built out. They have 1 million mechanic shops around. And whenever something gets mixed up, because in Turkey, transport is a big thing, right? So in one of these mechanic shops, my grandfather opened up a restaurant back in 79. They'd run this until 87, till when they open up Yeni Gül Lokantası, which means the Rose Restaurant in our city, Çorum in Turkey. And from then on, my dad's oldest brother to this day is running that restaurant. To then he just carried to basically the center city of our city in Turkey. So my dad grew up in this place. I myself, until I was 10 years old, my grandfather would pick me up from my elementary school, put me on the back of his motorcycle because this man never learned how to drive a car. And we would ride to the restaurant. I eat about 2 pounds of straight gyro meat, and he would take me back home. So that is how I spent my life until I was about 10 years old, till we moved to America. In the back of my grandfather's motorcycle, driving to his restaurant. And now we became full circle almost kind of thing, because of course the restaurant wasn't really even in our plans until 2020, because before then, my father was running a trucking business, working with Del Bono's Deluxe Bakery, delivering bread to diners, restaurants, and such. So, we're the bread man, essentially. And imagine my dad started doing that job since we moved to America back in '08. He was a volunteer imam, which means a pastor at a mosque. And of course, because that volunteer thing is not paying you any money, this man will wake up in the middle of the night, go to Deluxe Bakery, go with a driver on his route for like $40 a night, work like 10 hours throughout the night, come back, go to the mosque all day, and then lead all the prayers, come back home, sleep like 2 hours, do that. This man has been doing that for like 25 years now. He's a monster. Imagine now, after 2020 hits and all the diners and everything closed down, we had no idea how we're going to make money. And guys, like the trucking business itself, that you own the truck, but you pay basically everything mechanically. And if you're not doing your runs, your bread runs, you're not making any money at all. So it's straight hustler's business, right? So once COVID hits and all the diners shut down, my dad's like, what are we going to do? That's when we ended up finding that small little corner store on Haddon Avenue. And we were like, you know what? Let's follow my grandfather's recipes. Let's do all the traditions we used to do back in the day. And let's see what we can do. So me, my mom, and my dad, we decided to open up Jersey Kebab on the corner of Haddon Ave. And it took us about 6 months. So we got it in 2020 as soon as COVID happened, because we panicked and was like, we have to do something. And then it took us about 6 months to get all the paperwork done, get the inside ready and all that. And then we were on. So that's how that all started. I had no idea how to be a gyro chef at all. But shout out to my mom for teaching me within 1 month. So back to the discussion. The new Collingswood location is a dramatic expansion. Opened in the former Stardust Cafe space. Before that, it was Pop Shop late last year. It features a warm, inviting dining room, expanded menu, and a private party room that has already hosted a wedding, business events, and a craft show. It is an elegant yet casual spot to dine that's popular with people of all ages and backgrounds, and a refreshing alternative to the neighborhood's ubiquitous Italian fare. But the family's arrival in this prime location followed an extraordinary year. Last February, Jalal and his wife, Amina, who immigrated to the U.S. legally, were arrested during a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, raid. He was released with an ankle monitor, but Amina was detained in Elizabeth in northern New Jersey for 15 days. Yes, guys, indeed. What a year it was after the following. But it's like every single article that comes out about us, of course, has those couple paragraphs of all the small details of the stuff that we endured in the last year. But it's crazy that people actually don't know how that all started or how that all went about. They just know the middle of the story, which is the climax, of course, because that's what everybody's going to talk about, the climax. But how did we get to that point? What was the rising to the climax, right? So in 2008, guys, right, we moved to America. We came from Turkey. My father had this American dream. I was about 6 months old. And somehow, some way, this man just ended up applying for a visa just as a joke with one of his friends. He's freshly married. He's 25 years old. He just had a son. And his visa actually hits, right? So in Turkey, growing up in a third world country, when your visa hits, it's like you just hit the lottery, right? That's how we look at it. So you just hit the lottery, and are you going to take this ticket? And are you going to go on this adventure is kind of what's proposed in front of you. So my dad says, yeah, I'm going to America. And he was already pursuing his master's degree at that point. Shout out to Pops as well, man. Not forget masters. This man's a PhD holder, a doctor in Islamic history and religion. So to study more about what his end goal was going to be, of course, was to get his PhD degree. He decides to come to America to study the life of a man named Alexander Russell Webb, aka the first white American Muslim in history. And guess where he was from? He was from New Jersey. He was a Jersey boy. This man was working in the Philippines as an American consulate officer. And he ends up, this is in the 1800s, he ends up traveling all throughout the Middle East. He even stops in Turkey, which was back then Ottoman Empire. And he put on this big Ottoman hat with the red hat with the black string coming off of it and a suit with a big Ottoman mustache. And he got a pose. And my dad's autobiography of this man's life is literally that picture of him with the Ottoman hat on, saying a white Ottoman roaming through. So this man came to Jersey from the Philippines, going through the Middle East, becomes a Muslim, and then goes to Mecca, does his pilgrimage, comes back to Jersey, and opens up the first mosque in New Jersey. Basically, essentially, the first mosque opened by a white man. And he changed his first, he put his first name, of course, Muhammad. So he changed his name to Muhammad A.R. Webb. I always called the man A.R. He was a legend. So I grew up next to my father, and my father is reading through all this American literature. And before that, before he even starts, studying this man's life and how that came about, back to the year 2000, right? I'm still 6 months old. This man's lottery ticket comes. He's like, "Are you going to America?" And he's like, "Hell yeah, I'm going, baby." Gets on a flight, comes to America for 4 years. He's at Temple University, living in South Jersey, going to school in Philly, taking the train, and then working at the gas station overnight, trying to learn English properly. Of course, he's like 25, 26. Like, I learned English, imagine guys, at 8, 9 years old, right? This man learned it when he was like 25, 26. That's a lot harder to do with that age difference, because when you're a kid, you're learning English, your brain literally picks up in subconscious mode whatever you're hearing, right? So you might not realize it, but subconsciously you're hearing all these things and your brain is learning these words. I literally learned English just by watching SpongeBob and just hearing this man talk and reading the subtitles. So he gets his lottery ticket back to my dad. We're out. He's out. I didn't see this man, imagine guys, for the first 4 or 5 years of my life. I'm that kid looking out the window saying, "Where's my dad?" And this man's in America sending pictures back home, and he still always got the big beard, right? So whenever I see a man with a big beard in the street, I would go to my mom and say, "Is that my dad?" And I grew up with pictures of this man, guys. Imagine. Finally, after 4 years, he comes back and he's like, "We have to go to America. There's no other way." He figures out there's about a couple ways to do this. And one way is, of course, being hired by a company in America and then them sponsoring us as a family to come over completely from Turkey to America, right? And that's exactly what happens for 2 years, right? So he goes on a student visa to America, does his 4 years, comes back from a student visa, and then he's like, "I have to go back to America to try to find a job." So then he gets a tourist visa for another year, pulls up back to America, and then finds a job in 2006, then comes back to Turkey and is like, "Okay, guys, we're going to America. I did it. We're going." And then they hold us in Turkey with our paperwork still processing for 2 years. Imagine, guys. We're not only being upheld in America. This happened to us when I was a kid in Turkey as well. We don't know what we're about to do. For those 2 years, my dad didn't even have a car. We used to go to school, I used to ride on his bike going on the way to school, man, on the back of a bike. And we went grocery shopping one time and they stole that bike outside. And I remember we walked back home for 4 miles. I was 7 years old carrying all these groceries, man, waiting on America. Saying, "Where's my ticket, man? We trying to pull up." So, wait comes. And finally, they're like, "You're good. Hop on. You're on the way." We did it. So, guys, we hop on a plane, sold everything in Turkey, whatever we got. My dad got about $10,000 in his pocket, probably 2 suitcases, 2 kids. We find out, we come here. And at that time, yes, it was 2008. So I was 9 years old. I did 3rd grade in Turkey, right, guys? When I came here, I started at 3rd grade again. I had a younger sister and she did the same thing. 1st grade in Turkey, she came here. We repeated 1st grade again just to learn English and everything. So we come here. We live in Washington Township. I'm going to Bells Elementary School. Shout out to Miss Figueroa. Taught me English within 3 years. Literally, we go to ESL classes, come out, and then go to your regular classes. So that was an adventure in and of itself. We're going to dive more into that part of the story later. But so we come to America and they said same exact thing. You got about 4 or 5 years and then you have to apply for a green card and get your permanent residency if you want to stay in America. If not, you got to go back. So we're like, okay, let's apply for our permanent residency. And
The way the immigration system works, every single small detail is such an importance to it to where one mistake by a paralegal working at your lawyer's office could terminate the whole case. And you got to start the whole paperwork all over again. Each paperwork per person costs more than $1,000. So it's 4 people in our family, right? So every time we apply, it's costing you 5 G's just for the paperwork, costing you probably another 5 G's for your lawyer. This happened to us guys twice with one lawyer where the paralegal would do a dumb mistake and our paperwork would get sent back and we got to pay for them to basically apply again. Then we're finally waiting. It's around the year 2013, 2014. Our paperwork goes in and then we don't get a word back till 2016 saying your paperwork is still under review and has just been sent to Washington, D.C., right? So we're thinking, okay, we're going to, in 2014, we sent this paperwork in. And then guess what, guys? In 2014, another thing, my father and I are on the road, right? Like I said, he's running this bread business for the Bonos. Back then, we were working for Deluxe. It's July 7th. I just graduated 8th grade, about to become a freshman. We're on the road delivering bread. We get off at the Wawa on Route 42 going towards Peter's Diner. Pickup truck, a heavy duty F-250 comes into our lane. And back then, our bread truck was a little bread truck, like a UPS truck with a sliding door. My dad just got in the truck, didn't have his seatbelt on. We're thinking we're about to be at the diner within 2 seconds. We get on the road. This guy comes into our lane and smacks us head to head, going about 67 miles per hour. My dad is ejected out of the truck, flies about 5 yards. I'm sitting, imagine, those UPS trucks back then, they didn't even have a passenger seat. I'm sitting in a little folded chair next to my dad, delivering bread with him. I had one headphone in and one headphone out. And I remember my headphones still stayed in. And he smacks us and the windshield explodes my face like the bread falls on top of my head. I'm sitting under there, man. My dad flew, like I said, about 5 yards. This man's left leg had ripped in half. Whereas I was a little protected. I had to just get some cuts on my face taken care of. I had a piece of glass that flew up my nose. They had to dig inside my to get crazy, right? So like I said, my dad's leg is now ripped in half and he can't do the bread route anymore. So therefore, we're not really making any money. The mosque, of course, like I said, it's minimum wage. They sponsor us to stay in America and he can't even go to the mosque anymore. So this man is bedridden. He stays in the hospital for those 2-3 months. We don't know what's about to happen. Our paperwork is in. We know that if the paperwork comes back, you have to pay another $5,000 to them. And imagine, guys, back then, my mom had 2 newborn babies. My sister, like I said, is still in middle school. My father and I are the man of the house, basically. Every Friday, Saturday night, we go on this bread route. We're doing our thing, and we just get into an accident, and my father is down. And he stayed in the hospital for about 2 months before coming out. And his left leg, there was a huge, basically like a rod sticking out on the thigh and then sticking out from his ankle. And there was 2 nails, and it was a rod holding his leg basically together. He had to get surgery on that left leg 5 times within 2 years. They would reopen it up. Imagine he would get it, right? And every time he got a cold, his leg would get literally swelling up to the point where he couldn't walk anymore. Then we'd take him to the hospital. They would open the cut back up, clean it out, stitch it back up. And the doctor was fine. Like, hey, how about we just rod off this man's leg and we'll heal properly? And that's what they did. And it healed properly. And within 6 to 7 months, this man was back on his bread route. What a legend. What a legend. But yeah, guys, so we go through that, right? 2014, could have almost died. Didn't know what was about to happen. And he gets back on his bread route and we're still working. 2016, we're thinking, you know what? We're going to be all right. They reopened our file. We're going to get our paperwork. And in that meantime, of course, I'm now a freshman in high school. My dad, like I said, is bedridden for a couple of years. And my cousin, who just came from Turkey, takes over my dad's bread route because we have to basically deliver the bread every night. We can't lose that business because that's literally the only business that's keeping our family alive. And my cousin doesn't speak English. So I'm up at night about 2 a.m. and I'm 14 years old and I'm telling him the entire bread order and letting him know exactly where he got to go, what he got to do. I'm calling all the diners, taking the bread orders. So I grew up as the bread boy, running around, man. And I was doing that freshman year of high school. I would go with him on Friday, Saturday nights. You know how everybody would hit them all on a nice Friday, Saturday night after school. But your boy had to go home and go to sleep because I was going on the bread route late night. My dad would wake me up at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, midnight, and we on the road, baby. So if we're going through freshman year like that, sophomore year like that, my dad finally heals up, man. By junior year, he's out back on his bread route and he's delivering, imagine, bro, the AC and the Ocean City route. So he's driving all the way to the shore all summer long, all winter long. It would close up and he's delivering all the bread for the pizza places and stuff on the way there. So it got like 60 stops. Freaking monster. So we ran those bread trucks until I was around 16, 17. Then, as you start to grow up, for immigrants, guys, they literally would not give you a driver's license until you got 6 points of identification. And they started doing that just 6, 7 years ago. So when I was 16, 17, I'm trying to get a tax identification number so I can show it as my 6-point. Why? Because I don't have a social security number. And I still don't to this day, just to let you know. A social security number has never touched my hand. I'm praying that it does soon, but we're going to get to that part of the story too, guys. It's still coming, baby. So we go through 2016, 2017, and then I was finally able to go to the Turkish embassy and get an international driver's license. That was a fun ride. And we get to 2020. I'm now a sophomore at Camden County. I'm studying criminal justice and political science. I'm trying to be a detective, something like that. then we go into class and I look at it, first requirement, U.S. citizenship. I'm like, that's done with, man. I was like, Professor, I think you got to take me out of this class. I can't be in here no more, bro. So we go through 2020, guys. January 7th, 2020. It is a cold winter morning and I wake up at around 5 a.m. I would go to school at Camden County during the morning, Tuesdays and Thursdays, get my 5 classes in. All the other days, we're delivering bread with Pops, late night, we on a drive. One of these nights, he didn't take me to work with him, right? And I'm at home, I'm thinking I'm about to get my sleep and I'm off tomorrow. Wake up at 5 a.m. My mother wakes me up and she's like, there's 2 men outside. They look like cops. I don't know who they are. Answer the door. And it was one of those nights, guys, like I didn't even have no socks on my feet. I woke up, it's cold outside. I step outside, I open the door, and these 2 gentlemen ask me my name. I tell them my name. And then the second question is, what is your status here? And immediately I was like, what do you mean by that? So he goes, what's your status here? I was like, I'm a student. He's like, where? I was Camden County. So, I'm thinking I'm a tough guy, bro, because I studied criminal justice and I know my rights. I know the Constitution, fam. Like, you can't touch me. I was wrong. I guess because I'm an immigrant, bro, the Constitution doesn't apply for me because it definitely didn't that day, bro. So, I'm just talking straight textbook facts to him. I know my stuff. Tell him, we're here. We're waiting on our paperwork to be answered back. We got a notification from Washington, D.C. I pull up the Homeland Security notification on my phone. I'm like, you see it right here, fam. It says pending right now. And he said, we don't got that update in our paperwork, man. Just come with us. Let's just take care of this. Before I could say anything, bro, this man takes out his phone, puts it in my face, boom, scans my face. And then his boy with them, handcuffs. Let's go, baby. And I was like, shh. My mom opened the door, teary-eyed. I looked at her. I was like, Mom, just close the door, lock it. Do not let these bulls in the house. Lock the windows. Just open up the basement window and toss me out some sweatpants, toss me out some socks. Give me my soccer jersey because it got my last name on the back. It says Sterling in the front. They got to know I'm a local bull, that I'm around here. You know what I'm saying? They got to know I'm an American, man. So my mom tosses those out to me, still crying. I was like, just relax. I got it. She's like, where are they taking you? Where is this? I'm like, just relax, Mom. I got it. Let's go back in the house. We're going to be all right. So he puts me on the back of a little Chevy Cruze. It was a 2008 Chevy Cruze. I remember it had the cloth seats in it. And I asked him, I was like, bro, can you at least, put the handcuffs on the front? He was like, I can't do that, bro. You might do something to me. I'm like, bro, I'm a criminal justice student. I know my rights. I ain't going to touch you. Because when we get out of here, when I go to court, I'm going to say my case. I'm going to say what I need to say. Still didn't take the handcuffs off from the back, He put me in there and his boy put the seat all the way back. So I'm sitting there, guys, in this exact position, hands behind my back, and feel like a lamb taking the slaughter, baby. Put my neck down. I'm sitting there. I went to sleep at 2 in the morning. I'm up at 5 in the morning. I'm thinking I got work later. What am I going to tell my boss? You know, had a soccer game, indoor game that night. What am I going to tell the team? So guys, we go to Homeland Security Department, Fellowship Road. And then I'm in an interrogation for about 4 or 5 hours. They asking me all these questions. Guess what? I got all the answers. I'm looking at him dead in his face. We sitting table to table. I'm asking him questions at this point.
So we in the interrogation room, we talking, and I let him know, what I was doing, where I was going, all this. Let him know my entire schedule. Showed him on my phone. This man goes, okay, that's cool, bro, but until you go in front of the judge, you're gonna have to go to a immigration camp. I said, bro, what is you talking about? I told you I got work later. I need to be in class on Tuesday. You gotta let me go. I'm like, you see my paperwork, it's right here. He's like, we gotta let the judge decide that. I'm like, but why can't you decide that, bro? You the one who picked me up. There is no actual evidence to why I'm here right now. What is the reasonable cause? Like, what is the reasonable suspicion? I'm a criminal justice student. You got to answer these terms to me, fam. I showed them on my textbook. I'm like, I learned this stuff already, bro. It ain't applied to me, guys. The boys picked me up, put me through interrogation 4 or 5 hours, made me take my jacket off. It was like 50 degrees in the cell. I said, bro, you got to give me my jacket back. It's freezing in here. Felt like I was in a real movie.
We go through the interrogation, and the guys that picked me up, he's like, just talk to your lawyer real quick. We call my lawyer. This man says to me, I'm actually in New Mexico right now, bro. It's Friday. He said, I'm going to be back there on Monday. He's like, I'm going to take the flight back on Monday.
He's like, just beast it out.
All they going to do is, but I said, bro, beast it out. What are you talking about, fam? What's going on right now? He's like, just beast it out, bro. I'm going to be back there on Monday. We're going to come bail you out. I'm like, bail me out, bro. What am I getting charged with?
So guys, they put me in a cell. I'm in there by myself, ankle chained to a little chain that I'm sitting on the bench with. The bench is about this tall. It's got one big window right here, another big window right here, and it's about 15 cubicles going around the room. And right in the middle is all the ICE agents that's sitting there. It's like their office. And they put me in this little cubicle, and through each cubicle, you can see who's next to you in the cell, right? And I'm watching them bring all these like Spanish guys in that they picked up from a work site, got all paint on them and stuff, construction workers. And, these bulls, of course, don't speak English, and they pushing them around. I'm like, damn, bro, y'all wasn't pushing me around like that, though, because, I knew my rights. But, I'm in the cell. I'm just looking down, man. I'm thinking, this is freaking crazy.
I don't know if I'm about to go to jail right now. I got a class on Tuesday. I got a soccer game tonight I got to go to.
So, a lot of things going through my mind, but of course I see the ICE agents that's sitting there looking at me, looking through my paperwork and stuff.
And I'm trying to hold it together as a man. You know what I'm saying? You never want to let them know when you're weak, baby. So I'm fighting back tears. Got up on the ground, start doing push-ups. I said, they ain't gonna get to me, bruh.
So then I get a roll of toilet paper because there's a little toilet right next to me. Imagine who would go to the toilet when there's a window right next to you and you got man, see, where's the privacy, man? It's crazy. Got like an animal. You chained up. And they got the bathroom right there. I'm like, bro, I can't use the bathroom with nobody looking at me, man. This is nuts. So I took a roll of toilet paper like a gangster, squished it, turned it into a pillow behind my head,
and I went right back to sleep. It's 5. At that point, it's like 10 a.m. now. I'm like, bro, y'all done woke me up, man. We're going to figure this out. Let me just take a nap first. So I'm in my cell, guys, and take a nap. Wake up. It's like 3 p.m. Still freezing in there. I asked the boy, I'm like, bro, can you please just hand me my jacket? It's sitting on the chair right next to you. He took it off during the interrogation. I need that jaw back. He finally gave me my jacket back. You know what I'm saying? Put that thing on. Go right back to sleep. I wake up. There is the officer that arrested me in the morning, and then his commissioner is with them. And they got these stack of papers. Of course, in the morning before interrogation, they take your fingerprint, take a nice picture of you. I'm going to find that packet. Hopefully, I'm gonna show it to you guys. On that packet, it says, you are considered an illegal alien. You are now in a deportation case to leave the country. And until this case is handled, your green card case or any other case will not be looked at. And they're like, okay, you're free to go now. I'm like, what do you mean, bro? They're like, because when I woke up, I look in the cubicles next to me and all the Spanish guys are gone. And I saw the prison transport truck when they were there. they had already picked them up. I thought my paperwork was getting processed with them. But they're like, hey, like we looked at your schedule, like you have no flight risk. You obviously can't run away. He's like, I spoke to my commissioner saying like, hey, like, this kid's an actual student here and this and that and so forth. So you're free to go. You're just in a deportation case now. And you have to report back here every month and don't go nowhere. Don't change your address. So they released me that night around 7 p.m. So I was there for approximately about 14 to 16 hours. And of course, you never know how long you're going to be there for when you get picked up. But shout out to God, man. Had an angel with me. I don't know who was praying for me when I was in there. But they released me that night. And like I said, they put me in this deportation order, right? And I go there for 2 months in a row to give a signature. Second month that I'm there, COVID hits. And they're like, hey, we're shutting everything down. Your court case isn't going to be for a long time. Just come back when we send you a letter. I'm like, all right. But what about this deportation case? Like, when am I going to go to court? And my lawyer is like freaking out saying, hey, dude, like we go to court. How you have to do something before we go in there. You gotta prove them something. I'm like, dude, prove them what? What more can I possibly do? I'm working. I'm a student. I have no criminal background history. I'm a good person. What do I have to do to show them I deserve to stay in America? And he's like, you gotta get married. You gotta get married to an American citizen. Okay, I mean, we're Turkish. So in Turkey, guys, you are mandated to go into the military. Mandatory for men at 20 years old, right? So growing up in Turkey, once you come back from the military, then they expect you to get married. So around the ages of 20, 21, that's usually when a Turkish man gets married anyway, right? So when we moved to America, that was kind of the whole mindset growing up already anyway, because, we're in a very, very Muslim household, and my father, of course, would want me to carry on the family traditions. Of course, that's exactly what I wanted to do. Wanted to get married at an early age, set up a family to where by the time they're 17, 18, I could be like 40 years old and I could have my kids playing D1. So, we grew up with D1 dreams, baby. Even if I didn't have it, my kids was going D1 regardless. Noted here. So when you're placed in a deportation order, you're going to go to court. And when you go there, you have to present yourself as this and that. So when you get married, your wife basically opens up a petition to the American government. And in this petition, it says, I am a citizen here. This is now my lawfully wedded husband, and I am a dependent of his. I depend on him for my well-being and income held. So he needs to stay in America. So because I was already 20, about to be 21 at that age, in the Turkish community, how it kind of works is your mother shows you pictures of like 10, 15 different girls. And of course, they show the girls a picture of you. And if they see your boy on camera, baby, nobody said no. I say that. So, of course, I see my wife and I tell my mom, I'm like, Mom, this is the one right here. And I was like, show him a picture of me. So she sees a picture of me. Of course, she's like, yeah, so she is from Cleveland, Ohio, right? My wife. And so are my in-laws. So when I was 20 years old, about to be 21, I meet my wife. And of course, the only way we meet each other is your mom just gives you the girl's Instagram. You still got to do all the work, bro. So I slide in them DMs. I was like, what's up, girl? Just know we getting married. She's like, how you so sure? I'm like, I got that sixth sense. I just know it. So I talked to her for about 2 weeks in the DMs, and I pull up to Cleveland, Ohio, baby. And I meet her the first day. The second day, I meet her entire family. The third day, my mother-in-law loved me so much, she didn't even let me drive back to Jersey. She was like, you need to stay in our house tonight. That's the kind of man I am, bro. We pull up, man. What an Ohio trip it was. I booked the hotel for the first night, man. Took her out to dinner. And of course, like when you're talking to the girl and you don't have your papers, you have to kind of let the girl know that you don't got your papers, right? So sometimes she's like, what are you, marrying me for papers? I'm like, of course not. That's not the case. And of course, it's not the case that I'm in a deportation order either. I just love you. That's just what it is. And that's exactly what it was, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm a king and I need a queen with me at all times. So I had picked my queen. And imagine we met within 6 months. I drove back and forth to Cleveland, Ohio 8 times. And then we got engaged 6 months in, and then we got married 2 months after that. So within 8 months of meeting this girl, she is now my wife. I got us a nice little apartment in the Haddonfield. We just opened up Jersey Kebab. It's now 2021. You know what I'm saying? I'm in a deportation order. So what, baby? We still rocking.
So 2020, COVID hits, our trucks are shut down. I got picked up by ICE. All this crazy thing is happening, man. We don't know what we about to do. And then finally 2021 comes around and we are opened at Jersey Kebab. We introduced ourselves to the Haddon Ave crew. And from there, we just took off, man. We just didn't look back. My deportation case, every year I was mandated to go to court. I would get a letter from basically the mail. It would say, hey, your court's been pushed to 2 years later. And I tell my lawyer, I'm like, bro, I'm already married. Let's go see the judge. What's this about? Like, you told me, you gotta be married, bro. We'll have something to present to the case. Your wife will start a petition for you. I'm like, let's go. You told me to do this and that. It's been 1 year and I've done it all. So let's go in front of the judge. Let's present our case. And it's like, I just wanted to be in front of the judge, bro. Sometimes, I watched a lot of movies growing up. I would tell my lawyer, I'm like, bro, let me talk. Let me talk to this. I think I can present this case a little better. It's like that. Shout out to my lawyer, man. I love that guy. But yeah, so we were mandated to go to court. Every year the court case, the date would come. They would push it back another year. And I'm like, what the hell, bro? They holding on to. So the whole time I'm in this court case, guys, this deportation order, right? You are mandated to not leave the country. You can't go anywhere. You can't change your address. You got to let Homeland Security know. And the whole time, even though you might be released, you're subjected to be picked up by ICE anytime, right? It's kind of based on their own trajectory. So I'm living this life, I don't care what objectives I got in front of me, baby. I'm gonna do my best regardless. So we're in that mindset. I'm living my life. I'm raising my family. I'm doing my thing. And then before anything can happen, 2025 comes around. We've been doing our thing for 4 years now. We're stable in the community, and my deportation case every single year just keeps on getting pushed back, and we have no idea what the hell is going to happen with it. Then all these news come out saying, hey, ICE is going to be on the attack. They're going to take out immigrants lightly. So every time, like I said, guys, you get picked up by ICE, it doesn't matter if your court case is pending. It doesn't matter this. You're put in a deportation order automatically. That's what they do to you. And this deportation order, this court case can last for years. And I am a prime example of a man who's been in a deportation court case for 6 years nearly. And then it happens to my parents as well. We wake up one morning. We think it's a regular morning, February 25th, 2025. I have a 70-person catering order that's going to Virtua and Marlton. I still have never gotten paid for that order either, but I got the doctor's number. And he told me he was in Jersey Kebab 1 month ago. He said, I'm going to pay you for that food. I still need that money, bro. Please. So the order has got to be there at 12 o'clock. And, by then my mom has hired like 3-4 girls. So I'm thinking, I'm the boss, man. I'm sleeping in, baby. I'm not coming in there until I got delivered the order at 12. So I pull up the Jersey Kebab in my pajamas at like 11 o'clock thinking I'm going to just deliver this order and I'm going to go home, go back to sleep. Nah, fam. I go to Jersey Kebab. There is a officer in the front door standing there with the AR. Shout out my man AR Webb. And he's got this U.S. Marshal going on, you know what I'm saying? Probably about 6'5". And I ask him, I'm like, what's going on, dude? Can I go inside? And then he looks inside. And then I see like 2 officers kind of with their hand on my dad's shoulder. And then I see like 3 more officers in the back. One of the lady officers like talking to my mom. I go inside. Before I could say a single word, bro, my dad stands up. He takes out his bread truck's keys out of his pocket, leaves it on the table, looks at me, and goes, empty out the truck, bro. There's groceries and bread in there. I'm like, yo, Pop, hold on, bro. What is going on? My mom looks at me and goes, you gotta deliver that catering order. The doctors are waiting. I'm like, oh, Mom, what is going on, bro? So before I could ask what is going on, they just walk out. 10 seconds. I seen it all happen. The dude looked at me. I remember a couple of the guys that was masked up. I eyed all of them up one by one. You know what I'm saying? I had my water flask in my hand.
I didn't want him to look at me as a threat because, I wasn't trying to get picked up either. But my dad was like, where we going? I'm like, I know. So, of course I knew. They're going to Fellowship Road, Homeland Security.
So, guys, my dad then tells me what they told him when they came to Jersey Kebab first, because like I said, I was only there for the last 10 seconds of it, but they had arrived maybe like 5 minutes beforehand. They said to him, what's you guys' updates? Same exact question the man asked me about 5 years ago before that event. When's your last update from? Tell him the year. We're actually missing that information. Can you just come to the office with us to update that information? I'm like, bro, why is it that same excuse every time? Like, they go there then, same exact thing. My dad gets released that night with an ankle monitor. Well, before we even get to that point, right? So they get there, and I'm looking at our workers because we got a couple of my mom's soldiers working with them. It's her best friends from her ESL classes, and these girls are like, what are you about to do? And I tell them, I'm like, girls, just lock in with me for 2 minutes because let's empty out this truck. Let's finish cooking this order. As it's going on, customers are literally walking in the Jersey Kebab and they have no idea what just happened 5 minutes ago. Of course, a couple of the people saw it and, everybody just took a picture and left. But people started walking in and trying to order lunch. I was like, what would you guys like, sir? I made 5 falafel wraps. I made 2 chicken Adonis sandwiches after my parents got picked up while still cooking the order. The POS machine went down. I'm sitting there trying to charge her for the wrap. And I told him, bro, you know what? The wrap just gonna have to be on me, bro, because the POS machine not working. How many things could go wrong in one morning? Man. So we finally send out all the customers. It took me about an hour. It's now about 12:30. The doctor at Merchant are calling me like, bro, where's the food at? And I tell him like, bro, you're not going to believe me when I tell you, but my parents just got arrested by ICE. Kind of had to shut the restaurant down, but we still cooked your food. And I'm on my way. I was still in my pajamas at this point. But you know what I'm saying? A businessman always carries his secondary clothes in his car. I go to my car, take out my khakis, take out my dress shirt, put it on. All the neighbors are starting to come across like, bro, what the hell happened? I'm like, I don't even know, fam. I gotta go deliver this order real quick. I'll be right back. So I send all the girls home. I put all the groceries in the restaurant because my dad does the grocery shopping himself from Restaurant Depot. This man is a trooper, guys. Like, you have no idea how heavy that shopping is, and he does it by himself every morning, brings it to Jersey Kebab, and then we unload it and put it into our freezer. So I unload the truck. His truck is sitting at the restaurant. My mom's car is sitting at the restaurant. I'm there at the restaurant. I go deliver the food. I come back and I have no idea what I'm about to do at this point. So I just go right across the street to the mayor's office. And I'm like, excuse me, Kate, I'm not sure if you're aware of what just happened, but my parents just got picked up by ICE. So were you guys aware of, them coming or anything? Because the township, I would think that the DHS would let the municipality know that, like, hey, we're in your town and we're going to go do this raid. So, I would have appreciated it if somebody came across the street, told me to lock my doors about 10 minutes ago before they pulled up. It can't come inside if it's a private property, bro. I would have told them, we didn't open up yet, fam. You can't come in here. So I go across the street. Kate starts making all these phone calls. No, she's a legend in town. So we finally start hearing back from our lawyer, and they let us know that, yeah, they're at Homeland Security and, they're going to release your mom and they're going to hold your dad, was the first thing that was said to me. And then my dad gets on the phone. He said, I'm about to send you instructions on how to do everything. And you know what that means, guys. That means I'm about to be awake about 21 hours around the clock because now I got a family to run. I'm the oldest out of 4. I'm a father of 2, got my mom to protect. And I said, let's go, Dad, send them over. So he starts writing about 4 or 5 pages. He asks the ICE officers for some empty pages. And they look at this man. They're like, dude, what are you writing? And he's like, I got to let my son know exactly how to run everything. Let him know what bread has to be delivered to what restaurant at what time. I got to let him know what to buy at Restaurant Depot every week. I got to let him know that what bank account to use. I got to let him know where he has to go pay the mortgage. I got to let him know where he has to go, pay the bills at where, go get in contact with PCEG for the restaurant.
We got the fire inspection next week at the restaurant. I gotta let him know to call the fire instructor. So he's writing pages and pages, and they look at this man. They're like, you know what? It might be best if we let you go and we hold your wife. And my dad's like, dude, just let both of us go. Like, how complicated could it be? And, you know, he's like, we're already about to be in a deportation order. Like, you know what's gonna happen. So then, guys, we go to them actually holding my mom, right? My dad gets released with an ankle monitor that night, and he got released around 6, 7 p.m., exactly what time I got released 5 years ago. And then we go pick him up from Fellowship Road, and my mom, we see the prison transporter truck leave from there to go to Elizabeth. And as soon as I seen what said on all the security guards and the basically the prison workers on their jacket, it said Core Civic. So guys, Core Civic is a for-profit prison that is owned by third-party contractors that basically lease these places to the government, to where the government pays them our tax dollars to host prisoners there. So imagine it's like a holding cell, a holding camp. And every day that they hold somebody in there, they are being paid by the government to do so. And they're getting paid very good money as well. So all the immigrants that they lock up in there per person, they are getting paid a quota, guys. This is not acceptable in terms of what the Constitution says, in terms of what your rights and due process says. It's basically just like a cartel business, you know? You got picked up by the cartel, man. Now you got a bounty on your head. You got every day they hold you, they getting money from whoever is paying that money, and they gonna choose to release you. And to release you, you gotta pay another bounty. So to be able to pay that bounty, now you gotta go to court and you have to pay a bond. So now the whole town hears about the incident, obviously within the first day, because it gets put out on Haddon Township Neighborhood Watch. Hey, did you guys see what was going on at Jersey Kebab? There's U.S. Marshals there. Because the ICE officers that was there, man, only maybe one of them had an ICE actual tag on. All the others said U.S. Marshal, fully loaded up, machine guns, fully masked up. They're talking about, oh, that's the DEA, man. Maybe it's a drug operation ring, whatever. I'm like, bro, what are y'all talking about? We run kebab business only. So they pull up, man, and the whole township hears about this incident within the first couple of hours. And of course, us being at Jersey Kebab every day for the last 5-6 years as a family, our Haddon Township community, the entire Haddon Ave, man, they would see us every single day. So they would see us more than their family sometimes. And we really became like family to all of our customers around. And every single time, guys, we just kept it real with them based on everything. We, of course, look like the stereotypical Muslim family. My name is Muhammad. I'm very tan. My father got a big beard. My mom wears the full hijab. You know what I'm saying? Well, we the real deal. So, but, people appreciated that authenticity and they loved us through what we actually were. And of course, the food that my mom was making, we making that with love, baby. She praying over that food every morning. The people who eat that food, they be blessed up. They be sick one morning, they wake up the next morning, they healed, man. They're like, we don't know what you put in that food. She was like, I put my love in there. That love come from God. So Haddon Township, Collingswood, everybody hears about it the first day and then there's a reporter that showed up to Jersey Kebab and they start asking me a bunch of different questions. That night, I'm still at Jersey Kebab. I'm still trying to, lock everything up, put all the food in the freezer. We don't know what we're about to do because we would have like a week worth of food always in our freezer that we would prep and then we'll cook that food for the next week. So I'm at Jersey Kebab and a news reporter shows up, actually from the retrospective. And as I'm giving a little interview, then Channel 3 shows up. 10 minutes later, Channel 10 shows up. 10 minutes later, another channel shows up. So apparently they were all calling each other because this Facebook post, underneath that Facebook post in the neighborhood page, I wrote a little paragraph and I said, guys, my parents are in a deportation case now. They're holding them. We had an immigration case already going on. We don't know why they were picked up, but the only reason you get picked up is if imagine, guys, somebody could literally pick up the phone, call ICE, and say, hey, these people are illegal. You should come arrest them. And ICE could literally just pull up and arrest you. You know, they're arresting people with papers. So imagine what they're going to do. Somebody that's pending for papers. So we think somebody just called ICE and told them, hey, like, go pick these people up. And they got them picked up. So after hearing that, of course, because it's been in the news so much, but nobody really knew like who it happened to. You would just see it on the news. And as soon as it hit our town, of course, everybody was like, dude, it just hit our town. So everything they were seeing in the news just became a reality. And people were shook because they're like, like we would see that, bro, but we know it was never our reality. And as soon as they seen the doors of Jersey Kebab locked the next morning and saying, closed till further notice, and they saw that everybody was, devastated. They're like, bro, what is going on? So I, of course, knew what was going on and where they had taken my dad and where my mom was going because I lived through the experience already. I'm talking to all the reporters. Of course, my dad is devastated. Our business is shut down. My mom is locked away. I picked the kids up from school. The kids, I'm talking about my younger siblings because they're still in high school. So I don't know what to tell them. My little brother has autism. He's very emotionally connected to my mom. So we don't tell him anything. Of course, it's in the news that night. So all my siblings, their teachers call me. They're like, hey, Muhammad, like, are you going to tell the kids like what's going on and stuff? And I'm like, I just don't know at this moment. I don't want to tell them anything because we don't know what's going to happen. So we immediately get in touch with the lawyer. We're trying to send over what we can to get a bond hearing now. Of course, we got to pay the bounty. But you have to get approved for that bond hearing. And then you have to go to that bond hearing and actually win the case. So imagine your bond hearing is even a case that you're fighting against the government and they're sitting there arguing why they should keep you in jail, locked up in there. So it took them 2 weeks for them to even look at the papers that was sent in for my mom's bond hearing. Finally, when they processed the papers, we got approved for the hearing. She was in the hearing the next day. And while we were there, the prosecutor's side, as imagine, is sitting there arguing of Jersey Kebab never sent us their official business license. We're not sure if they're an actual business itself. We're not sure if these people are in there working. We're not sure who they are. I'm like, you are actually sure because here's 500 letters from the community that's saying exactly who we are and what we're doing for the last 6 years. And we do own Jersey Kebab. Here's the business license on my phone. So my mom was bond here. So even saying that, right, the judge, after hearing all this evidence, the judge could have been like, you know what, you're right. She should be out on bond. The bond is for free. She should be set free right now. But the judge goes, looking at these circumstances, guys, I think you should pay about $7,500. And we let her go. I'm like, all right, dude, I guess. And so we pay them $7,500. That's just part of the robbery, guys. You know what I'm saying? We're not even at the tip of the iceberg yet. Well, that is the tip of the iceberg. That's showing. We've been robbed plenty of times. We then get my mom out. And of course, the community members in Haddon Township, they rallied around us. They're organized, all the vigils. They raised a good sum of money. Shout out to I can't even call them my friends, man. They're really the fam. Shout out to the whole fam of Collingswood, Haddon Ave, everything they've done for us, man. It's insane. So we then get my mom out, and there are now in 2 separate deportation orders, right? So even though we came to America as my father's dependents, so when they're assigning your visa, they put you as, if you're not older than 18, of course, or if you're a kid, or if you're somebody's wife, you're considered your husband's dependent. So my dad had a R1 visa, which is a religious worker, which is basically like the imam, the pastor. And then we had R2 visas, like the dependent of R1. So they separated all of our files and made sure we paid individual deportation order documents. Cause we got they got to get that money, man. It's $1,500 just for the document itself. So of course they're not gonna all put us in one court case because we're all in the same court case when we first came. But now that we're on the way out, individual, pay all the money. So guys, we're going through these deportation orders. My dad's first court case was within 6 months. We go to the court hearing. The judge didn't even look at us once. My lawyer is on a big TV right next to him. And on this, during this little court hearing, the judge asked him, did he pay the 42B form? Yes. Did he pay the 41B form? Yes. Did he pay this? Yes. Looks at her calendar. All right, Mr. Attorney, I got about 5 years left until I can see him again on my schedule. And we look at him like 5 years.
Imagine, guys, I'm still in the same deportation order that I was in 5 years ago. So I'm trying to tell my dad, I'm like, Dad, you can't wait on this for 5 years, bro. This is ludicrous. Because for 5 years, you're basically in an open air prison, right? You're liable of being picked up by ICE. You don't get anything, basically. It's still hard for you to get your working papers. You don't have a social security number. You can't leave the country. Without a social security number, you can't do anything. So, all right, guys. So parents get picked up. Mom gets released. Shout out to the community for rallying around us. We're now in deportation orders. And it's crazy, guys. When they were releasing my dad, they had told him like they were watching our house for like a week. They knew exactly what car everybody drove. They seen my sister leaving the house this morning, but decided not to stop her. And, I guess he expected to say thanks to him. But yeah, guys, so my dad realizes that, wow, we're his whole family is under real threat. And like those 2 weeks that they had my mom for, dude, like we had no idea when she was going to get released. Like we didn't know if they were going to even approve our bond hearing. Our papers were in there and we're still waiting for it to get approved basically. And it's Ramadan, so we're fasting during the day. The whole event happened like 2 days before Ramadan started. So that's a whole nother test of its own. And we going through it, man. We go into the nightly prayers with my dad and like they allow you to see the prisoner for 1 hour every day. So imagine, guys, we'd fast all day. And then during that 1 hour, we would be able to see my mom. I would drive the entire fam up to Elizabeth and we would see my mom for 1 hour and then drive back. And like my dad's in the car and he's crying every night, bro. And I'm like, just looking at him, telling him like, I got us, Dad. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to let nothing happen to Mom. And every single day that would happen, like God would put a opportunity in front of me to where, I would be able to represent the family. So the first day I went to the mayor's office, I spoke to the TV reporters. The second day, they literally had an entire news crew at Jersey Kebab of my dad and I giving an interview. The third day, all the mayors of all the surrounding towns showed up and they had a whole press conference. The fourth day, commissioner's office reached out to me and they had a press conference. The fifth day, the governor's office reached out to me. So every single day, I'm talking to all these people. I'm trying to see if anybody has any connections on anything that might possibly help. And, in the meantime, we're giving all these interviews and of course, our people are starting to see the truth in the matter because here is a perfect example of a family that has done it the right way, just like how all Americans insist on immigrants doing and going about getting an American citizenship. Here is a family who has done it the right way and has been going through this process for nearly 20 years and are still now faced with a deportation order and being locked up in a for-profit prison for trying to live an American dream, for trying to do what's best for the people around them. And when they see our town rallying around us, because people who see you every single day and see you do the things you do, they know you best. And our community knows us best because we're with them every single day, shoulder to shoulder. And once the truth was in the lights, and no matter what was going on, I knew that there was still light at the end of a tunnel. And all I could be was, be that light for my family. And that was my driving factor. Every single day, my dad's like, you're going to go talk to him. Like, I don't care, Dad. I will talk to whoever I need to talk to make sure that my mom gets out as soon as possible. So we then get the bond hearing, all that stuff happens, and we're going through these court cases, but still there's no answer. And we continue to try to strive to do better, and still there's no answer. So we just do what we can do best. And to continue on this lovely article talking about doing what we do best,
my father goes, in our life, business is not coming first. Character, morality, and courtesy comes first. Jalal explains, calm and philosophical. That's right, guys. My father is very philosophical. A doctor. You could call him Dr. Emanet from now on. Jalal believes that the spirit in which you do something affects the end result. We cook with love, he says. He was amazed by the support family received in the wake of the raid. I realized that we touched people's hearts, he says. And that's what it is, guys. No matter our differences, it's about how you affected somebody's heart. And when you truly care about people, they will feel your energy. They will feel your love, regardless. And every single person that walks into our restaurant, we look at them as a guest of honor walking into our house, because we own our restaurant so much, like it's such a big part of us, to where it's literally our house. And whoever walks in is our guest at our house, and they are our family, because we don't allow anybody but our family to visit our house. So because we show that love, man, love will always be reciprocated one way or another. And all the love, all the struggle, everything we showed for the last 18 years of being in America, it all paid off with one event. Imagine, how can a person's life change with one event happening to them? But then you realize everything you've done before that event led to that event even happening to begin with. So this event, happening in the first half of 2025 basically set the tone for the rest of the year for us, and set the tone for our life, because it meant that all the struggle that we went through as immigrants, they never saw us when when I'm sitting there looking at my dad in the hospital. We don't know if we're going to be able to stay in America. I don't know how long my dad's going to be in the hospital for. I'm making bread runs with my uncle at 13 years old at the middle of the night. I got school the next day. We went through all this struggle for this one very moment. And that moment came at the cost of my mom being arrested. What a crazy mishap. But for it to turn the whole trajectory, for God to say, you showed patience from even a mishap happening, and now here's the reward. But can you be that person to show up to receive those blessings in that very moment? Because the blessings are going to be there. But can you show up for 18 years straight to receive those blessings at the end of those 18 years? That's what it took. You don't ever get something overnight, man. And our entire story of America, my father's whole story of his life literally is the hard grind. 20 years working on it by himself, 20 hours straight. Doesn't matter, day in, day out. And then in the second half of 2025, we face another setback. So we open back up Jersey Kebab after Ramadan ends. We get my mom out within 2 weeks. Everything's cool. We're doing amazing business. All attention is good attention when it comes to business, baby. Because even though there's people out there, online talking about, oh, who are these people? Deport. And then all of our Haddon Township and Collingswood people are in the comments like, you don't know these people, fam. These are good people, man. And they talking about all the good things we shared at Jersey Kebab together. So I was like, yeah, man, we, ain't nothing happening to us. I told my dad, I'm like, Dad, everything is a reflection of everything that we are. So because everything we've done is good, the reflection is going to be good in the end, no matter what. We just don't know how it's going to get there. So the patience we showed is literally the reward that you receive. And another test comes. And this time it's at the restaurant. So our landlord, guys, he's a character. God bless him. But this man, of course, seeing that we're all in deportation hearings now, he's like, and he sees a little money coming in now that the business is good. I tell him, stop watching my pockets, bro. Don't worry about my money. I worked hard to get here. He's like, I gotta raise the rent, bro. I don't care what the contract says, rent's going up. I'm like, bro, fine. So rent goes up. The next month, he's like, something's gotta give, bro. I'm like, this man is itching, bro. He goes to my dad and he tells him, hey, like, how about you give us 50% of the restaurant and we do a collab business together. I give you the apartment upstairs, this and that. And my dad's like, no, dude, I'm not being business partners with you. So he's like, all right, if that's the case, you got to leave this restaurant. Like, you're done here. He's like, you making all this money from my spot. You got to go. I'm like, dude, it's not your spot. We making this money because it's Jersey Kebab, baby. You're not us. And he still insisted that, he was going to do this. So every single day, guys, he had a little Turkish partner that he found. And these guys would sit outside Jersey Kebab and they watching the shop all day, looking at all the customers coming in, getting hype. They're like, bro, we're about to do it. They're like, look at these guys getting all this business. They don't stay, they're busy all day long. I'm like, bro, it's because it's us in there. It's not because it's the corner spot. But who you going to convince, man? So we leave that restaurant and he gives us about a month and a half to figure out what's going to happen. At the end of the month and a half, we talk with the old pop shop owner. Ironically, he's a Turkish guy, but he's under the code name Jerry. I always look at him. I tell him, stop calling yourself Jerry, bro. Your name is Gökmen. So shout out to my big bro Gökmen, man. He put me on a lot of things, showed me everything the pop shop needed to be for it to move on, gave me the legendary breakdown of the spot. So that's why we're carrying the legendary name of the shop, to bigger heights, of course. So we take over the pop shop, and before we did that, before we even found the spot, imagine we even considered putting all the stuff in a storage unit and was like, we're going to shut down Jersey Kebab, bro. Like, this guy's kicking us out. We don't know where we're about to go. So late last year, as we continue on, they moved and reopened Jersey Kebab. Emanet remains the main chef. During Ramadan, the party room served as a place for prayer. And indeed, guys, we took over the pop shop and we turned the place in the back, all the way in the back, into a mosque, a masjid. It is a prayer room, as we are obligated to pray to God 5 times a day, put our head on the ground like our prophets Muhammad, Moses, Jesus, Abraham have all done in the past, and we bow down to God and let him know how appreciative we are of all these blessings that he has gave us. So our party room is now a mosque, and it is the first mosque ever opened in Collingswood. So imagine, guys, my father, who has done a doctorate's degree, and his last test from this degree was to write a book, the autobiography of Muhammad A.R. Webb, Alexander Russell, the legend, the first man to open a mosque in New Jersey. And my dad is basically following in the footsteps of his hero, his GOAT. And he opens up a mosque in Collingswood, man. What a full story moment, full circle moment right there. He's literally living the legendary life that he wrote about. Imagine, guys, this man literally wrote this man's autobiography. And as he was writing it, he manifested his own fate. So in our little mosque at Jersey Kebab, we do our 5 times daily prayers. And then we go in there, we cook our food with love. We got about 200 tables. We went from, imagine, 4 tables serving 20 people to now serving over 200 people. And it happened in a matter of 6 years, going from a small corner store to now one of the biggest restaurants on Haddon Ave. Nothing comes easy, man. And we still going at it every single day. It's a struggle every single day. But guess what? You wake up and you at it, man, because we love it. And we love being a service to people. We love caring for. So we finally find this amazing place, man, where we can show our love, show our appreciation, show our foods off. And we're in this amazing space, of course, still liable of being deported. That never goes away. But it's all good, baby, because we alive. We live to fight another day. And, my dad here talks about the menu here, gives a nice little intro to our amazing breakfast menu. It reads, when Muhammed Emanet was growing up, he wanted to be a detective. In college, he studied political science and criminal law on an academic scholarship. He didn't imagine being a restaurateur, chef, or server, all the roles he had played. But now at 26, he is the face of Jersey Kebab, as well as its steward and its CEO. You heard that, baby. Chief of Operations. Every operation that happens, I gotta have a say in it. So when you're an immigrant, guys, and you don't have a social security number, the only way you can work is to work under an LLC that you have created yourself. And you still have to pay taxes on that, of course, business. But you are not allowed to be paid by any other entity at all whatsoever other than your own entity which you still, like I said, have to pay taxes on, and you still have to pay income tax, even though you can't get income from anywhere else. So every single job I've done was whatever was offered to me, man. I've never said no. And of course, growing up, wanted to be a detective, wanted to be an agent, wanted to be an investigator. All my dreams, of course, had to put them to the side and focus on what was given to me, what were my options. So every American kid growing up, I want them to have I want to have an open mind to all the blessings they actually have, bro. Because being an American citizen would have opened so many more doors for me in my life, but I just couldn't walk through those doors because something holding me back. People need to appreciate all the opportunities that are there in front of them. And that is the biggest thing about why immigrants are now more successful in basically almost everything, because they come to America and they see things and they see the opportunity in front of them, and they're able to go through those doors. You have to be there to receive those blessings. If you're doing the bare minimum, you will not be able to receive those blessings, man. So whenever you are given 100% at it, just know there are a land of opportunities, because that is why we strive to be the best that we can be in America. Why? Because as long as you are trying your hardest, bro, there is food to be ate here. Imagine in Turkey, people eat meat maybe once a month, twice a month, and they get paid the same minimum wage that everybody gets paid, but they can't survive. So in America, if you are working, you will be paid. And we are trying to work as much as possible, the best of our abilities. Of course, you can't do anything without a social security number. So that's just what it keeps coming back to, man. I'm trying to do my best. I just need a social security number, please. And thank you. So the detective, of course, it wasn't in the pictures. Of course, I would have look good in that uniform though, baby. I would have put that suit on. Oh, man. Your boy, 6'3", 225, linebacker, monster. So because I couldn't do all that, I just followed whatever my dad told me. My dad told me, you gotta be the bread man. I said, I'll be that. So imagine, guys, I would go back to my college campus with a box full of muffins, and the girls started calling me the Muffin Man because I was coming home from the Deluxe every day with a box of muffins. And then we opened up a restaurant. My dad told me, you got to be a chef now, bro. I said, I got you, Pop. He said, you got to run the business now, bro. This is what you are. I got you, Pop. This is who you are now, bro. We got to write this book about this guy's life. I need you to be a translator. I got you, Pop. We're going to do this, man. I need you to be the interpreter. No problem. Your siblings got a parent-teacher conference. You're the guardian tonight. No problem. Imagine I was 16 years old with a mustache and a goatee. I would put on a trench coat and I pull up to my little brother's second grade parent-teacher conference family night. And I used to be like, yes, sir, I am the guardian, indeed. And I would sit there, have a conference with their teachers about the agenda, about my little brother and all that. And I did that for both my siblings growing up. So I was a parent already, man. Every role that needed to be played, my dad told me, this is who you are now. I said, yes, sir, that's who I am now. So a trained soldier is what you could call me. And as a child, Muhammad longed to try certain American dishes, of course. Yes. And we couldn't eat them because they're not halal. So when we're in the restaurant, the eldest of 4 siblings and a married father of 2, Muhammad speaks with an off-the-cuff, exhilarating energy. In the wake of the ICE raid, Muhammad's articulate, open-hearted interviews endeared him to the public. I'm just who I am, baby. You were just on a different spotlight now, you know what I'm saying? I was always this man, but, I love my people. His energetic social media videos, part food showcase, part community bulletin, part entertainment, have helped transform the restaurant into a phenomenon. As a child, Muhammad longed to try certain American dishes, but as a Muslim, he couldn't eat them because of the preparation, because they're not halal. Halal only, man. So when the family planned for Jersey Kebab's expansion, Muhammad, who lived in New Jersey since he was 9, insisted the new iteration of their restaurant would feature American classics and twist on those classics with halal meat, like cheesesteak gyro. Hey, man, I always wanted to pull up with my boys on a late-night cheesesteak run, but I could never eat it because it's not halal. I asked why he calls himself the Son of Collingswood in social media videos. He explained that his early days at the old restaurant, senior citizens would come on and spend the entire day talking to him. They would literally call me their son, especially after all the events that happened. They would say, we watch your videos on Facebook, and it's like we're watching our own children. So they've been calling me the son of town for years already. And that's right, guys. The son of Collingswood, it's not a title that I just placed on myself, but it's a title earned as a son to not only my family, but a son to an entire community. I want every parent in the whole town to look at me like their son and let me know if they need anything as their son. Because, a man in the house is always needed. So with all the stuff that happened in the last year, guys, and, everybody watching my parents get arrested and watching my every move afterwards, they've truly endeared me to, being like a son of their own. And, they let me know that, hey, this is the kind of son that should be in every family, representing who you are and sticking up for your parents. And, they truly taken me in. And for those 2 weeks, guys, they gave me, incredible strength. And from then on, man, I wasn't just the son of my own parents. I was the son of the entire town, son of the community. So, we wear that name with honor, and we'll continue to wear that name with honor, as my kids one day will be the grandkids of town, and so on. The Emanet family will long live this destiny of being the sons of town. And I'm just the one starting it, baby. That's what you got to do when you come to America and you have absolutely no family here at all. You're the beginning of the family tree. So my father's at the top. I'm right behind him, right hand man, just like on this picture, baby. You see it, big dog's hand on the boy's shoulder. You know what I'm saying? It ain't easy being the son. And just because the weight is heavy and I carry it well, it don't mean it's not heavy, man. Just because I carry it well, it don't mean it ain't heavy, man. But you know what I'm saying? That's why we got these strong shoulders for. Carry that weight. The restaurant's followers say to Muhammad that watching the videos make them feel like they're part of the family, and Muhammad feels like they are too. Outside of his immediate family, he has no relatives here in America. So he is used to talking to his family members in Turkey on video calls. The way he speaks to his Jersey Kebabs videos is the same genuine way he talks to his family. He says, sometimes he plays reporter. This is the son of Collingswood reporting live from Jersey Kebab. Other times he announces free Thanksgiving leftovers, promotes food drives, or highlights crafts fairs. He shows the elasticity of kumak by stretching not dramatically from spoon to plate. And he describes different kinds of Turkish delights. He charms. The charm is natural, baby. When you're a European man, a Turkish man, you just do it. I don't even think about it. The videos are playful and educational, but they are also central to the business, drawing people in and making them feel connected. Before their immigration case became public, the family didn't want to burden customers with what they were going through. But once their story was out, they stopped holding back. And that's another thing, guys, that I wanted to mention. Like, my friends asked me to this day, because imagine, guys, I grew up right in Summerdale, maybe 10 minutes away from here. So, Collingswood, Haddon Township, Haddonfield, they were all in our conference. Like, I'm a local kid, and I got friends that I know from middle school till high school till now, guys that I've known for 15 plus years. And, I'm one of the boys, and they always ask me, they're like, bro, we had no idea you were going through all this whole time. And I was like, bro, how was I going to tell you? Like, I'm like, yeah, bro, I got arrested by ICE. I'm in a deportation case. I'm doing, like, how is that any of your business? And what could you do for me? You know what I'm saying? You're not going to feel me, fam. If you're not going to feel me, there's no reason for me to even put this burden on you, bro. I'll deal with it. You know what I'm saying? I'll carry the weight. It is what it is. But don't mean I'm still not going to grind. So, the boys, they always see me as this, hype, always going 100%. In gym class, you would have tryhards. I was a tryhard in every class, fam. Imagine I learned English after 9 years old. By the time I was in high school, your boy was in honors AP English. I learned that from scratch. So, I was the kind of guy always enthusiastic. People thought like, yo, bro, you're going to do it big. I already know I'm going to do it big, baby. It's just a couple things holding me back. And they're like, what kind of things? I'm like, just things, man. You wouldn't understand. All right? You don't get it. And they really wouldn't get it. So there's no reason to explain it to them. But then, we're like, okay, now we can just spill everything. Muhammad says, the only way you truly connect with somebody is if you know the real details and the real story. And that's what I mean, guys. Like, people that I've known for years, like then like they really truly became like our fam once they seen these actual burdens and all these details. Cause they would see us with a smile on our face every single day, happy and going, everything's jolly. But it wouldn't be everything jolly, bro. Like we're really going through some real life things. And it's things that only people going through that exact same thing would understand. Like being judged on such a level to where you can lose everything that you worked for in America. Imagine, guys, we've been here for 18, 20 years. You know, like we have a family house, we have our business here, we have everybody that we know here. And then all of a sudden you're in a deportation case. And it's like, I've been in it for so long to where I can just put it to the back of my mind and just not even think about it. But like my parents are old and like they think about life every day. And my father is constantly just in his head thinking about scenarios. Is like, where would we go if America told us like they would actually deport us? So this man is going through like, you know, midlife crisis. And it's like he's thinking about it every day. And I keep on trying to tell him, like, bro, just put it to the back of your mind. Don't even think about it. But it's like, how can I expect him to do that? He's like, he tells me, he's like, bro, you're young. You know what I'm saying? You can restart. You can set up your life anywhere. You can do it. He's like, I've already done it. He's like, I put in 20 years into America. I was up every night, every day, during the day. I slept 3 hours a night for 20 years straight, delivering bread, running the restaurant. And everything could be taken away from me in an instant like this. He's like, y'all not even safe. He's like, what can I do? He's like, I can't even, you know, protect y'all if something happens. And it's like, that's heavy on a man. You know what I'm saying? And I share that burden with my dad, and we share it every day. And, you know, sometimes the burden feels too heavy that day. Sometimes you don't even think about it. But every time something is mentioned, the burden, you know, comes right back on top of you, man. And you just have to keep running away from that, like that burden basically. And it's like, how can we put that burden on anybody else? How can we let them know? Because they can't do anything for us. So now that their story is public, the Emanets can be themselves. So exactly, guys, even being able to share that burden, right? Even talking about that burden, I just felt that heaviness come on top of me. But being able to just share that burden, guys, it makes me feel so light, man. I feel like a bird, like I could fly. You know what I'm saying? That's why people ask me, they're like, bro, how are you comfortable sharing all these details? This and that. I'm like, bro, the thing is, these are stuff I've been keeping inside me for years. And now that we're actually on a platform to where we can share these things with people and people to understand because it's happening to all over our country, we have to share these details, man. Because if not, we'd be doing a disservice to everybody else if we did not let them know what kind of situation that we are in right now and how crooked this entire system is from the core, right? From the core. So Muhammad's experience living in America has been bound up with the U.S.'s complicated relationship with the Middle East. I mean, my name is Muhammad, says my dad has a long beard and my mom wears a full hijab. His family fits the surface level profile for the kind of family that people might fear. And he says he remembers during career day. So guys, like I said, we're the stereotypical, you know, Muslim family. And especially with all these new information coming out lately, shout out to Tucker Carlson for doing a relive of the 9/11 documentary. 9/11 played such a major part in all of America's thinking and everybody's mindset of basically who Muslims were and what kind of people they are and this and that, to where it's truly scarred people, bro. And it put a red flag on people like us. And imagine, I'm from Turkey, guys. Turkey is like a tourist area, right? But of course, your identity has already put such a curtain on your entire profile that people look at you with a prejudgment on you and who you are already because of 9/11. And now that it's coming out that 9/11 was an inside job itself, that the real details of the story have completely been out, it makes me even more mad because I got the short hand of that stick and I got bullied for that. And it wasn't even us. He says he remembers during career day. Imagine, guys, I came to America. It's career day. I just started school. I barely speak English. Of course, I know a few words. The first week is career day. I told the class I wanted to be a pilot. It's 9/11 2 days later. The first thing we do is open up a documentary on 9/11. And now we're watching this. And of course, I came from Turkey. I barely know anything about 9/11. I don't even know what happened at that point. And in this documentary, guys, it starts showing pictures of all these Arab guys with long beards, and all their names, at least one of their names, was Muhammad. And the class turns around and looks at me like this. Some of the guys talking about, is that your grandfather, bro? You said you wanted to be a pilot. What you want to do the next 9/11? I'm like, bro, all I hear is the word terrorist, terrorist. Of course, I don't understand nothing else. So, I'm sitting in class. I'm getting a little teary-eyed, bro. I'm thinking these kids is calling me a terrorist. I'm looking at the names. It just keeps saying Muhammad, Muhammad over again. And I'm like, damn, bro. I done came all the way from Turkey thinking I'm about to be, we in Turkey, we grew up watching Disney movies. So I'm thinking I'm about to be in a classroom. It's going to be like a Disney movie. These kids calling me a terrorist on the first 2 days of school. And that's the only word that I understand. I don't understand anything else, bro, but I understand that word because it's Turkish as well. That definitely took a hit on your boy, man. As a little kid, that definitely made me teary-eyed. When you're a Turkish boy, you carry your heart on your sleeve. You're pretty emotional. So I would get a little emotional. And, after that, it carried on to a point where, like, at first, you're dealing with it. And it's like, then it comes as like, you think that you're less than people. Of course, like, my mom and my dad got that stereotypical look. Imagine, guys, like, that bullying forced me. I remember I was graduating from middle school and my boys, they still my boys. I still love them. Would, walk by me. And when they would walk by me, they would yell, boom, as if a bomb was going off. Ha ha, so funny. But of course, that pissed me off. And everybody around them laughed. So that was the joke of the freaking year, man. Everybody walked by me, say boom. I'm like, bro, I don't have a bomb on me. So, I even told my parents that, like, I didn't want them to come to my graduation. And I didn't want, I didn't want my friends to see them in, like, their full hijab and my dad's long beard because they're going to say, like, oh, look, your parents look like the people who did 9/11, who look like them terrorists too. So, like, imagine it even led me to be, like, embarrassed of what my parents look like as a little kid. And, like, a couple years later, once I had actually matured and realized how much I loved my family over everything and that I didn't care what we looked like and the fact that I was proud of who we are, like, I apologized to my mom like a million times. I'm like, I can't believe I did that to you at my middle school graduation. Like, I didn't let you come because I was scared of my friends calling me a terrorist. And that's some real messed up stuff, bro. I never mentioned that to my friends. All my boys I'm still in contact with to this day would make that joke to me. I still love y'all, bro. It's all good. I forgive y'all, but that was messed up. And then when he turned 21, it reads, Muhammad was removed from his parents' green card case. He says ICE agents arrived at his home at 5 a.m., took him in for questioning. They let him out. He asked his mom to throw him a soccer jersey, the one with his name and American flag on it, and he put it on. So after all that happened, guys, we're still all in this deportation case. We're waiting for what's going on. And of course, now that all the details of the story is out, I'm talking to anybody and everybody about anything because I don't have to hold anything back anymore. So I testified at the State House in support of the Immigration Trust Act. And this act was broken into 3 different parts, right? The act was what is community acts, which was, it would be able to protect the community from ICE picking people up in front of schools, in front of government entities, in front of court hearings, in front of hospitals. Because, they would just sit there. Imagine you're a parent, you're dropping your kid off at school and you get picked up by an ICE agent. Like, where you going to leave your car, dude? That's a bad situation, man. So I went to the State House and I spoke on these acts. And these acts, truly mattered to a certain degree to where they would also give immigrants rights in form of when they're getting arrested, right? So let's say an ICE agent pulls up and they're trying to arrest you. It would give the immigrant the right to ask that if there's a police officer there, to tell the police officer, hey, my constitutional rights are being violated right now. I'm trying to communicate, but the communication is not happening. I need you to protect me. And this is a right that we're fighting for in court because, like, growing up in America, you would think that, the police are there, especially somebody that studied criminal justice, to protect and serve the community. So you would think that if your rights are being violated and there's a police officer there, I would be able to say to the guys like, hey guys, like, can you all please step in and help me de-escalate this situation, or help me, conversate with this fellow serviceman to explain them my rights and explain them, hey, like, what you're doing right now is not constitutional. So it was literally, I remember the governor's last day in office. When I spoke on these acts, it got approved at the State House, and then it went to the governor's office right before Mikey Sherrill came into office. It was the man's last day, and he only approved one of them. And now those rights are still waiting to come into court again. And that leads me to want to ask, like, all my guys, right? Because I study criminal justice, all my boys that I played soccer with at Sterling High School, like, these guys were coming up, and I would tell them, I'm like, yo, they would ask me like, yo, Muhammad, what are you studying? What are you going to college for? This and that. I'm like, bro, I'm going to criminal justice, and so should you. You know what I'm saying? You should be a cop, bro. You should be a lieutenant. You should be a state officer. You should serve your community, bro. Because you know what I'm saying? We good guys. We're the good guys. And all my boys ended up being, now they're all cops. And I asked these guys the same question. I'm like, bro, if you were faced with a situation where there's an ICE officer, right? And you see me and I'm talking to him, where would your position be? And this act was literally an act which would put the police officer in the position to help the immigrant, to let them know, let them basically look at the situation and say, hey, you're violating this guy's rights. You're not supposed to be doing that. He's answering all the questions promptly, because there needs to be, before an arrest, there needs to be an actual questioning of why the arrest is going on. There should be questions answered properly, and not just lies being fed to a person to just get them to arrest them and lock them up for a for-profit prison. So that's what happened, guys. I went up and I testified, and after about 2 weeks of testifying, let's see, it says, I went up and testified for these rights, and the man only accepted one of them. So 2 weeks passed by. I get a text message from my lawyer. So guys, I go up, I'm in front of the state legislators. I let them know we love America. We're Jersey boys. We deserve to stay here. Let them know that I'm a prime example of why this crooked system in place should not be in place, that, we need to be able to judge immigrants properly and actually give them constitutional rights. I don't know if there needs to be a separate constitution written for immigrants or what needs to happen, but the constitutional rights that I was taught in my criminal law class is definitely not appliant on us, because none of those rights were given to me. None of those rights were given to my family, and we're still fighting these cases. So we are prime, live, living examples right in front of you. You are not watching a television show. You're not watching the news. So after saying that, I get a call from my lawyer just on a random Thursday night. I'm at Jersey Kebab pulling through a dinner shift, and he goes, man, I got some news for you, buddy. He goes, your deportation order has been terminated. You're no longer in deportation court. So the court case that it took them 6 years for me to even go through the system had been terminated. We don't know why. I don't know if it's what I said at the State House, but if it is, I'll take it. If I would have known, I would have showed up to the State House 5 years ago and talked about these things. But hey, man, sometimes patience is a virtue. So I wish that all ended there. I wish my deportation case being terminated meant I was going to get my green card and I was going to get my citizenship. I was going to be able to, be a service member in town. I was going to be able to get a social security number. But no, we wish that's what happened. So for you to then come out of a deportation hearing, guys, and then get your status adjusted in court, you have to pay them $3,000 for the paperwork. You have to pay them body physical, a full body physical. Of course, they test everything. Then there's mandated vaccines that you're supposed to get other than the vaccines that I've already that I've already got. And they're over there trying to tell me I got to take a COVID shot. I was like, sir, you guys are trying to poison me. I'm a fully bred Turkish man. I didn't grow up here. You know what I'm saying? I grew up on kebab, bro. I got the perfect genes. You're not about to poison me with this nonsense. So I went and got a full body physical. Thank God, they didn't make me get the COVID shot because I definitely wasn't trying to get that. And then we sent all that paperwork in last September, right? Because my lawyer kept saying, bro, your case can get terminated. We don't know what's going to happen. Let's just send in this adjustment of status in case your case is terminated, so we could just adjust your status in court right away. And then your case can now be your green card case that you and your wife went through that had already been accepted. So imagine my green card case that I had already been accepted was still not given to me because I was in a deportation order. Now this deportation order is terminated. My green card that I had already got is still not being given to me because now I'm in an adjustment of status faction of the court, and I paid them the $3,000 already last year for it. And now my lawyer is telling me, they're like, oh, bro, they got your case file in Mount Laurel at the same office that you were sent to, the same office that me and my wife already been interviewed at and passed our interview within 5 minutes of being there. The same building that literally has all of my papers are still waiting for my papers, is what we were answered. So my lawyer goes, how about we just give them another $3,000 so that they can review your paperwork again? I'm like, bro, are you nuts? This literally happened 5 days ago, this conversation. He was like, one of his paralegals actually emailed me. They're like, hey, Muhammad, we're still waiting on them to review your papers and what's going to happen. Maybe we should just reapply, send them another $3,000, send them this payment. I'm like, I am not getting robbed again. No, thank you. I've done everything the proper way. I went to Norcross's office and I filled out a privacy release form. And I stated, why is my paperwork not being reviewed? And they told me, your paperwork is at Mount Laurel waiting to be reviewed. I talked to my lawyer. Why is my paper not being reviewed? He tells me I reached somebody at Mount Laurel and they're waiting for more papers to review. I'm like, what are they waiting for, man? I just went for an interview last year. They've already accepted my interview. Just tell them to change my status. How hard can this possibly be? And like, I'm telling my dad, I'm like, bro, I'm just going to go to the Mount Laurel ICE office and I'm just going to say, hey, guys, I'm here. Can you please just review my paperwork? He's like, what if you get arrested? And I'm like, I don't know, man. He's like, what if, he's like, I need you. So like, it's down to that now, guys. Imagine they're asking me for another $3,000 to review paperwork that I had already submitted and paid the money for last year. And I told them I'm not giving them a single dime of my hard-earned money that I get up and work every day for. Imagine, guys, if we didn't have this restaurant right now, I would have no way of feeding my family. And let's say, worst case scenario, I go there to ask him about my paperwork and then I end up getting arrested. And how am I going to support my family? Who's going to stick up for me? Where's my representative? Where's my legislator? Where's my sender? So, these are things that, are in the back of our minds every day. But still, we wake up every day with the same urgency, with the same best intention to get it done. So, to continue on with our article, only a few days before the interview, Muhammad's deportation hearing was terminated. He doesn't know why. Now he's approved to get his green card. And recently, Muhammad has started filming Turkish versions of his English videos, the same video except in Turkish, the caption reads, which makes the scope of his videos even more inclusive. He's talked about Jersey Kebab's Corner of Knowledge, where you can pick up free pamphlets about Islam. On Valentine's Day, a corner bookshelf stacked with dozens of complimentary English translations of the Quran. A gift from Jersey Kebab is nearly full. During a visit during Ramadan, there is only one left. It is a small, unobtrusive touch. We are open-minded family, Jalal, who is also a chaplain, says. And of course, guys, our Qurans at the Jersey Kebab, literally our favorite corner, because knowledge is power, guys. And knowledge is only as powerful as your ability to share it with others. So us being believing Muslims, guys, a Muslim translates to the one who submits his will to God. So in the Quran and in all of our history of basically prophets and religions, we look at every single prophet as a Muslim because they submitted their will to God initially. And the Quran being the last book of the Abrahamic religions, we look at every single book from that series. So imagine, guys, you pick up a book of a series and you read book 1, but you don't read book 2, 3, 4. How would you know the ending? How would you know the part of the story? So that's the reason why they would go back in history and basically rewrite new revelations of the Bible or new revelations of the Torah. Why? Because the endings were never fully there, because it is only one book of the series. So each prophet we believe in, brought a different book, but it was a book of righteousness that needed to be brought at that time. And humans then later on and went and took these books and turned each book into a religion of its own. But in the Quran, it states that we are all one humanity, like one full human body. And each part of humanity is a part of that human body. So therefore, our beliefs, our hearts are always one. It's just the fact that humans throughout history has corrupted us, divide us, because that is the only way that they can conquer us. And we have been conquered. We have been divided, but our true intention as a believing Muslim, as a believing man, is to disrupt that corruption, to be the rose in the fire, to be the flower that blooms. So we believe in all the books of God. We believe in all the prophets, whether it's Moses, whether it's Jesus, whether it's Muhammad, and we read all the books, only their first revelation that truly were the explainings and the teachings of these prophets. Because these stories, guys, throughout these books, they're only examples of what they went through. So the lesson we're supposed to get out is not what they went through and what happened, but what kind of patience and what kind of character did they portray through these situations. That is the believing man's motivation. You have to be character, your morals have to be sound first. If you're not a good person, it doesn't matter what you believe in. And that's what's been going on all around the world today. That's been showing us this truth, is the fact that you can be a Muslim, you could be a Christian, you could be a Jew, you could be whoever you want. If you're evil, you're evil. And if you're not, you're not. So we believe in being the best person you could possibly be, being a good neighbor, a good son, a good father, being a righteous person in all situations. So that's what the Quran unfolds. It tells us about the last stories, how these stories really ended, and what kind of character, who you are supposed to be as a man. So at Jersey Kebab, we not only supply you with delicious kebabs, but we supply you with a boatload of information of how you should be a man, how you should live this life as a righteous person. And that's what comes first, baby. So Muhammad's favorite dishes at Jersey Kebab. Great question, he answers. As a meat lover, anything with meat in it. Protein is my fuel. Enthusiastic about health and wellness. He eats meat with every meal, and when he can, works out part-time as a fitness instructor. And that's right, guys. If you're not eating meat, you're not really eating, bro. You need that protein every day, all day. I started up as a scrawny guy, about 150, but 6'3". So little by little, we gained all this muscle. I'm about 225 pounds now. Pure rock, man. So, it's very important to us, guys. How your body is, your health applies to everything. It applies to your mental, emotional, and of course, psychological as well. So we do my best with the little time I got. I train my Muslim men, all my boys, I let them know you got to be a warrior first, bro. If you can't be a warrior in the gym, you ain't going to be a warrior when the war is really here. Because sometimes the war isn't physical, man. It's always mental. So, we stay ready physically. And then when the mental war is here, we're already ready to take over. Because I already took over in the gym, did what I did, and I do what I do. So right now, Jersey Kebab is his main focus, but Muhammad, who regularly rises at 4 a.m. to deliver bread with his dad to supplement the restaurant's income, given the high overhead costs, has big plans for his own future. Jersey Kebab is my dad's dream, and I'm going to make sure my father's dreams come true as much as I can, but I have dreams of my own. I want to be the next mayor in town. I want to be the next governor. I want to be the commissioner. I want to do it all. And that's right, guys. Soon as the opportunity is here, we coming for everything that they took away from us. This system needs people who have suffered through the worst of it so that we can bring light to what's going to happen in the future. Because everything that's happened to us, guys, is happening to millions of people around our country right now. And our beloved country has been divided and conquered. And the only way we can get through it is to unite. That is how we literally got my mother out of jail last year. Just uniting as a town. And imagine that changed the course of our entire fate. So imagine if we can unite as an entire country how many good things we can possibly do. And I need to be a part of that unity. I gotta be that light, man. And we'll be ready for it when the time comes. So we're going to see him on the ballot in due time, he promises. And until then, Jersey Kebab is his main priority because we all have to prioritize in life, he says. And of course, guys, I might not have a social security number right now. Might still be waiting on my deportation order to be adjusted to now green card holder. But we wake up and we fight every day because that's all we can do. God has blessed us with all these blessings. We can't look at the negative. We just only focus on the positive and we keep on going. And that's the only character that we can follow, man. Because if not, all the negative around the world, man, they'll just tear you down. And we can't focus on that.
So they always called me a character, he says to his parents. His mother encourages him. She always says, go ahead, superstar. You know what to do. Snap in the character. And, since growing up, guys, I've always been a character. Like I said, my father wasn't with me the first 4 or 5 years of my life. So kind of cooked that character of being the man of the house at 5 years old, protecting my mother and my little sister. And then when the time came, I protect them in real life on a different scale. Same concept, different circumstances, baby. But, when I had to be that character for whatever was needed, we always ready for it. So as soon as I leave the restaurant, it reads, as soon as I leave the restaurant, I pass 2 women on the sidewalk, one pushing a stroller. And they say, have you tried Jersey Kebab yet? One woman asked the other. They always called me a character, he says, of his parents. His mother encourages him. She always says, go ahead, superstar. You know what to do. Snap in a character. So as you guys know, man, as I mentioned, I grew up without my father for the first 4 or 5 years of my life. So my mother turned me into the man of the house. She put that character in my head saying that you must protect your mom and your sister until your father is here. So imagine, guys, I always grew up as the protector, as the lone wolf in the house till my father came back. So whatever character is needed in that moment, I am now able to snap into that character and play my role as best of my abilities. And that's just what we can do. When my father tells me, this is who you are today, that's who I am that day, baby. Because we're God's soldiers. And God said that family is one. So we take care of our family, we take care of our friends, our community, and we take care of each other. Because that is all we can do in this world. You are only in control of your own actions and thoughts. Everything else is secondary. And we will live to see and fight another day with our community. We love you all. Shout out to my man, Dougie McConnell, behind the camera. We'll be back with you guys as soon as possible.